Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to explore some alternative ways to replace the barrel batteries on those old motherboards. Normally the motherboards I'm purchasing from eBay, depending where they're coming from, but usually they come with the barrel battery removed and with some kind of leakage around the area. That's why usually that's why they're usually listed as spares or repairs, because the leakage has damaged something. And looking online, I've seen lots of YouTubers replacing those barrel batteries with coin batteries, which is obviously a good way, because the coin batteries, they would never leak. And so I normally see these holders used, whether in this shape or something slightly different. There are two main issues with that. Well, the first one is sometimes it just doesn't work. I mean, this motherboard is probably one that it could work, but you end up with a holder probably on top of some components. Like in this case, I guess I can make it work. But again, it would probably, I don't know, sit on this, I think it's a diode here. So yeah, you see what I mean. It's just not exactly designed to be here. I've got some transistor there, so probably either it's going to barely work or it's not going to work. So this is another thing to keep into consideration when replacing a barrel battery with a coin battery. Here is the barrel battery is rechargeable. So when the motherboard is powered, normally powered and running, obviously, there is some voltage, there's some current going through these two terminals. Now, a barrel battery is designed to be recharged. A coin battery is not. So if you supply voltage or to a coin battery, chances are it may explode. So the solution for that is to make sure there's a diode in series with the supply, which basically, long story short, allows the voltage to get out of the battery, but not to come into the battery. So that requires, it's not rocket science, it's not the end of the world, but it still requires some modification to the board. You need to have a look at the PCB, see where the traces are coming from, and do a usually easy, but still it's a modification. And yeah, I mean, I've been looking for something less bodgy, if I can use that word. I'm not even sure that it exists. So every motherboard, basically, at least these old ones with the barrel battery, they have another connector, which in this case is this J2 connector here, which is the external battery connector. Now, the external battery connector has the advantage that it doesn't receive any voltage when the motherboard is powered on. So you can connect anything you want, and you don't have to worry about modifying the PCB or anything. So basically, some time ago, I went ahead and I purchased these from somewhere, I don't know, which are like vertical holders. Unfortunately, this would work perfectly fine here, but unfortunately the pin, the leg distance never matches the one on the PCB. The PCB, I think, is 20 millimeters, this is 10. Yes, I could put something together, but then what happens is this gonna be not very stable, and long term probably will just snap from the PCB. I just didn't like the idea. So I came up with this, which is basically, well, at least what I had in mind is, a couple of short leads, which are basically recycled from a couple of these Raspberry Pi / Arduino, I don't know how they're called, but patched cables. And I thought that was a good idea, and basically that plugs straight into the external battery. Now, if I keep the well, number one is it's possible to plug it the other way around. I just put a mark here, and that's my negative, or you can check with a multimeter, but it's something that can go wrong. Number two, that's not very how can I say, reliable, because as you can see, the especially the red one comes off pretty easily. Number three, which is probably, it could be resolved by a longer lead, is then you've got this thing flapping, especially if you are keeping this board in a bag or somewhere that if it goes everywhere, eventually it will detach, which means then you have to go back in the BIOS and reset everything. But what I noticed is that, at least with these cables I'm using, they don't really like being soldered for whatever reason. So I had I think a couple of these holders where the lead has come off under these red heat shrink. So the idea could be, maybe I can make it a bit longer with a better cable, which means I need to purchase some of these connectors and then use some Velcro and maybe Velcro it somewhere. I don't know, I just I was kind of looking for a slightly better solution on this subject. Looking for an alternative solution on this subject, I decided to go ahead with this. Basically, I was looking to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this, how can I say, design, replace the cables, the wires with something better. But I don't really like this black header connectors. So I ordered some of this with the relative housing, whatever they're called. So what happens is, obviously this one, number one, they have how can I call it, polarity, so you can't really plug it the other way around. That's number one. Number two, when they're plugged in, this little plastic flap basically clicks in place, so it doesn't come off very easily. And not on every motherboard, but on most motherboard, that should fit on removing. Obviously I'm going to remove the header and fit this one, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to replace this flimsy Raspberry Pi patch cable with something better. And again, I got a selection here. As you can see, I've been looking into something, and I've got something like this, which is it's not too flexible, it's a bit too chunky. I like that it has many flexible strands inside, but that's too big. Then obviously got something much smaller. This is a telephone cable, but it has solid cores, and solid cores tend to break basically, so I don't want that one either. And then you get with something a bit like more in between. This is fairly flexible, but maybe it's a bit too small. This is still too chunky. This is still too chunky. I think I've decided to go with this, which I think it's a sound cable. It says analog and, sorry, digital and analog. So it is a balance cable, but it's pretty flexible, and it has many strands, and it's not too chunky. I feel it's the right compromise. I'm gonna make a longer lead, and which terminates on one of this, and then I'll desolder the header terminal from the motherboard and install this one in its place. And I feel, and then obviously, yes, you still end up with this flapping around. I'm gonna put some Velcro, and I think the idea is to have like this, maybe attach, Velcro here, or I don't know, I'll find some space on one of the chips, or I know it's not going to be super pretty, but I think it's better than it is right now. And again, I don't know, I'm not suggesting this is the best way. Well, let's do it first and see what happens. But I don't really like the idea of seeing a battery holder, on top of other components, and again, then you need to do the diode modifications and everything. So I don't know. You tell me please on the comments what you think about this solution, whether it's something you like or you dislike. I have several motherboards where I would like to do this modification. Let's begin with this one, and yeah, and then see how it looks, and maybe I'll do the other ones too. As you can see, being a motherboard, several layers, I was struggling to desolder using just a soldering gun. So I decided to give it a go to the hot air method that I used on my previous video. And it works, it really works. I've used it on all the motherboards on this video, and it works like a charm. You just need to preheat the board, and then basically, you know, it just works with the desoldering gun without too much time. It's still not super easy as a single layer, but as you can see on the second pass, the soldering gun seems to be much more effective. Obviously, unfortunately, when desoldering those type of terminal connectors, you end up destroying the connector because the plastic melts. But that was kind of expected, and I have replacement if I need it. I don't need those in this case. So as you can see, it's completely free, and it's easy to remove by hand. Yeah, as you can see, that fits perfectly fine. I think it's pretty elegant. I hope you agree. It actually, I like that. It's very flush with the PCB. Shall I go this way or this way? Probably, you know, the other way around. It's not totally flush actually. So yeah, I think it looks okay this way. Perfect. Let's move on and solder it. Looks pretty good to me. So the cable I've decided to use, it's actually a Comfort cable, Comfort FST, DNA, digital and analog. It's as I said, it's a balanced sound cable, but you know, I just feel it's flexible enough. It's got several, you know, a few strands, not as many as I'd like, but yeah, I feel this should work. Again, we'll see what happens. Something's thinner, smaller, it's probably gonna break. I don't know, but this feels good to me. I have forgotten already which one is negative, which one is positive, so let's take a quick measurement. Come on. Right, so this is correct. So the one in the middle is the negative one. So what would be a suitable length for this cable? I guess, to be honest, you know, if it's a bit longer, it's probably more manageable rather than shorter. Like this probably works well to me. Yeah, be here. I think this is fine. So I can attach it to this chip or to the cache RAM. I can't reach here anyway. Maybe even, no, I can't do this because obviously a board. I won't be able to attach a board anymore. What about here as well? It's probably not bad. Again, with Velcro. So it's not touching anything, it's not shorting anything. I like this. I don't know. Am I going too far away? It's like, why do I need the battery like in the middle of the board? I can probably keep it a bit closer like here. Okay, anyways, I would say this is enough. Okay, so next step would be to solder / crimp the terminals on this housing. Now my bad, the listing on eBay wasn't really clear enough, and I didn't purchase a terminal, so I'll have to delay this a few more days while I receive the terminals for this. False alarm, I found some of this in my stock, so I'll go ahead and install them on the wires. I don't really like this one. Let me see if I can do something. Sorry, it was off camera, but I think I made it a bit better. Okay, well, that should be okay. Now, the next step is to find out which one is the ground pin. Well, I think I marked this one earlier on. I just want to be 100% sure because I'm gonna, you know, it's never nice to remove the terminals from this housing. So Let's just get, this is in continuity mode, so I've got one lead on ground, and it should be this one. Yeah, it's the one facing that way. So yeah, all the others are not ground. Perfect. So all I need to make sure is to, so this is plug in this way. Let me zoom in a bit. So this is plug in this way, because obviously it has, don't know how to say that, but you know, it doesn't plug the other way around. So I need to make sure that this pin here, facing that way, is the black one. So let me actually, to avoid, there it is. Sorry. Okay. So this is going, I think, because the clip is facing that way, I think it will have to be like this. And then the little metal clip will just engage into the terminal here, into the housing here. Perfect. It clicked, and yeah, it looks good. Let's do the other one. There we go. It looks good to me, to be honest. I may think of, I don't know, maybe for the next ones, I don't know, some, like, no, I can definitely twist it a bit better than this. I don't know, I guess I could think of some braided sleeving. I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking a bit. Just to be on the safe side, before shorting everything, let's make sure that I got the voltage the right way round. So that's supposed to be, black is negative, obviously. Yep, 3.1 volts. So this now plugs this way. Okay. It feels, obviously, you know, it's much more reliable and stable than the other way, because it's not going anywhere. It's soldered, and the connector is firmly attached to the socket on the motherboard. So it really looks good to me. Now let's find some Velcro. I should have it, and attach this somewhere in a nice place. Okay, here's the Velcro. So let's get, I guess, a very small piece. Okay. Now to make sure the Velcro, how can I say, fits in the best possible way, let's clean the back of the holder. I think I'm going to use this chip like this, more or less. Yeah, it's tiny too long, but I think it's fine. Again, I'm assuming the chip doesn't warm up too much. If it, I don't think so. It's a chipset. Okay. That's a bit too much. I guess we need like half of it. Okay, so at this point, well, I guess it doesn't really matter too much, but the idea is, there we go. Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. Hmm. I mean, I could probably, I didn't think of routing the cable somewhere where I can cable tie it, but I don't really see anywhere where I can just route the cable. So obviously it has to be inside the PCB. I really haven't got anywhere where I can just put a cable tie or anything. So yeah, I think this is fine, and again, it's much more reliable and stable than it was before. I mean, I definitely like the connector. Whether the battery should be here or somewhere else, I don't know, to be honest. If someone has a different idea, I mean, maybe I could have run the battery here, but then you've got some contacts here, even though there's nothing really touching, but I don't know, I'm not sure I like the idea. If someone has a different idea, please do let me know in the comments area. Maybe it's not actually a bad idea to have it here. It's a bit longer, but it somehow feels tidier if it's in here. Kind of away from the RAM, where you're working here, you're playing with the memory, the keyboard, the power, and this is kind of going out of the way in this space where it looks like nothing is happening, Maybe next one I can try that one. Anyway, this is my first attempt. I think I'm happy with this. Again, remember the alternative, to be honest, was something, I don't know, I don't really like the seeing that connector, not connector, the holder here. Where is it? Also, even if I wanted, that basically goes outside of the PCB, so I guess then you can't install the PCB anywhere, because obviously you will have, I suppose, the chassis of the PC running here. So that was not really an option. Well, again, let me know what you think about it. I think what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do all my other motherboards. I won't bore you with the process. It's exactly the same. It's not really anything special. But I'll show you the results. I'll edit the video so you just see the results and you tell me what you think about it. Just a little update on a board I've been working on. I said I wouldn't show you the process, but this is, well, we don't call it interesting, but it's a bit different. Because as you can see, so the battery terminal was here. You see it says external battery here. And unfortunately, it's in between two components. There was actually a capacitor here where it says C5. Now the plan is I will just put a capacitor at the back of the board, because it's a very tiny little capacitor. It's not like an electrolytic capacitor, so it's not a big deal. But the problem is that even with that out, that doesn't really fit in none of the directions. So what I ended up doing is, let me show you. Is it this one? Yes. I ended up sanding one of these connectors, because to be honest, again, it's only there, I don't know, I guess to rest the connector. So I don't really see a problem with that. So I think it's now, if I try and plug this up in, actually, it fits perfectly fine. As you can see, it's not forced at all, and no, I don't have a, this is not, doesn't have anything attached to it, but anyways, if I try and plug this up, it works fine, because basically, again, it's just, well, fine-ish. Yes, it's resting on the IC. So I will have to solder it with the connector in place, so it solders a little bit away from the PCB. You see there's a little gap at the bottom. I don't know, I think it's fine. It's no big deal. Obviously I cannot sand the plug, but it feels okay. Again, there's nothing touching, you know, there's nothing, no contacts exposed or anything, so it feels pretty elegant as a solution, to be honest. No, I can't do this on camera. Again, let me know what you think about it. I know it's a little of a botch job, if I'm saying it right, but again, the alternative is not any better, and as usual, the holder doesn't fit here, so to me it feels like a good alternative. And that's it. It's taken me a while, but I think I've done all my motherboards. So I'll show you. So this is the one where basically I had to sand down the connector. I like it. And again, the connector comes off nicely without any issues. Obviously, yeah, I mean, if someone needs to remove that IC, we will. Well, no, actually, because I just need to remove the battery connector. So yeah, it's okay. And the capacitor, it's here at the back. It's really not going to do anything, and I think it's going to be working fine. So that's board number one. That's number two. That's another 386. Again, that was fairly... no, actually, that's the one which I had to sand it on the other side. I didn't really want to remove the jumper, which I don't know what it is. I can't find this dying motherboard. I may add it on the database. It's not the cleanest job, but again, it seems to be working fine. And yeah, it doesn't look great, but the alternative, again, it's that kind of, I don't really have a better one. Again, feel free to comment and say, leave your comment, leave your ideas or feedback. So that's number two. Number three is my, I think it's a 486 motherboard. And that was fairly straightforward. The connector fitted perfectly in this position, so that's totally fine. I ended up with the battery in here. There's actually a reason, at least in my mind, why I'm always attaching the battery and the Velcro on a chip and not on a PCB, or not that there is any space available here, but on other boards maybe there would have been a little area with no components. The thing is, if I ever needed to remove the Velcro for whatever reason, even just pulling out the battery, to be honest, the battery holder, I'm concerned that, especially over time, the glue of the Velcro may damage the PCB. In particular, I'm concerned it may like rip the traces of the board, especially on some older motherboards. So as much as I don't like to attach something on a chip, I feel it's the best place for a battery holder. So that's yeah, looked good to me. Then we have, I think this is the first one I did. No, that's not the first one anyways. Well, that's another one. Again, no issues at all, but attaches perfectly fine. There's no issues whatsoever. And finally we have one which I may want to redo at some point. This is a 286. I ended up with this very long lead. I think it's, to be honest, I think it was a mistake. So I may just want to that's it, you know, just shorten it up. I don't think there's any issue with this one as well. Again, it barely touches resistance here, but it doesn't. It's not an issue. So happy days. And then finally, I think this is the one I started with, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So again, we've seen that already. Now the only thing I want to mention is I think all these connectors have the negative, the polarity is the same. So if I'm looking, if I'm comparing this one with this one on a different board, as you can see, the polarity is exactly the same. Now, unfortunately, on this one, which is the one which I had to sand the connector down, the polarity is reversed, as you can see. I didn't have any other way, because unfortunately the connector doesn't fit the other way around. I mean, I had to sand quite a lot, as you can see, because otherwise the connector would be, the base would be flush with the plug. I can't do on the other side because there's a little flap which is preventing the connector from coming off too easily. Again, it's not a big deal. You just have to, you know, remember that this battery is not exchangeable with another one. I guess, you know, it's not going to be a problem. But yeah, that was the other one. I think all the other ones, including this one, yeah, including this one, which is the sanded one, has the polarity matching all the others. So it's only a board. That's it. I've been wanting to do this for a while. Main reason, again, I store these boards away and then I find the connectors removed or broken most easily, especially here at the battery holder. I mean, the wire I was using before was really bad, and also these terminals here that designed for a PCB, they're not designed for like a flying cable like this. So I hope this works better, because obviously, you know, I should be able to bag them and put them away without causing any stress to this. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you what you think about it. Do you like this? Do you think it's not a good idea? Do you have a better idea? And you know, any comments as usual, very much welcome and appreciated, whether they're, you know, positive or negative. So thank you for watching. Again, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a thumb up. If you don't, or even if you have, please leave a comment, and I'll hope I'll see you again on my next video.